Hi folks. So in this next couple of videos, what we're going to be creating is a desk lamp. I'll just bring you to a picture of it here. This desk lamp, okay, was not this desk lamp in particular, but the desk lamp in general was the current 2024 Leaving Cert project. And a lot of the skills that they would have used in creating this are transferable, obviously, whenever you sit your Leaving Cert, be it next year or 2 years' time. What we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be building this desk lamp using a multi-body approach where we model the whole lamp in one file, and then we're going to be able to export the individual parts of it out to individual part files as well. And we're also going to create a drawing file at the end to give you a little taste of what an output 4 or output 7 of a Leaving Cert project would look like. Okay, so before we do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to bring you out to the desktop screen, and in your school you may have like a folder or something that you are saving your current progress on. So in my school we always have a folder here. So what I would get you to do is wherever that is, I would get you to open up that folder, and inside that folder, then you would create a new folder for whatever it is your files are going to be. So in this case, inside the folder 50 or SolidWorks, I'm going to right click and I'm going to click on, right click and click on new and click on folder. And I would like to call this folder then the lamp. Okay, absolutely fine. Now everything that I create in SolidWorks is going to go into that folder. Okay, so now that I've created that folder, I'll actually just shut it down there. I'm going to go into SolidWorks and we're going to go up here to the top left, click on File, click on New, click on Part, and click on OK. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start modeling before we save anything. So starting off, what we want to do, if I just bring you out to the picture here, we want to start off with the base here. Okay. Now, as we're obviously making this kind of from scratch, I don't have the exact measurements, but I'm going to estimate what I think will be appropriate sizes. So you can see the base is kind of made up of a couple of sections. We've got the main kind of, I suppose it's metal part here. Okay. It's kind of dome shaped. We've got the switch with kind of a little section around it, and we've got this little kind of ridge at the bottom, which I assume is for grip, so it's probably made from plastic. And then we have a little section here where the cord is coming out, but we'll probably leave that till later on in another video. So in this first part, we're going to focus on the switch, we're going to focus on the main base part, and we're going to focus on the grip, the grip bottom as well. So to start that, what I'm actually going to use is there's multiple ways we could go about this. Okay, you could do a boss extrude of a circle from the top plane and then do a dome or something on the top of it. But I think the best way to do this is actually do a revolve. So I'm going to start by doing my sketch on the front plane and click sketch. Now what I'm going to first of all is I'm going to grab a line and I'm going to start on the origin, click, drag out, click, make sure it's horizontal, go up vertical. Now the line is still active. To deactivate the line, press escape key, press the enter key to reactivate the line, and I'm going to do a vertical line up to here and press escape once again. Now what I want to do is I want an arc from there to there. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get a 3-point arc, which is in the middle here. If you select the drop down arrow, you can see you have different ones, but I want the 3-point arc, so I'm going to select that one. I'm going to click on this point. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see it a bit better. I'm going to click on this point here. I'm going to come over to the top point and I'm going to make an arc. Don't worry if it's too big or too small. I'm going to go to about there, what I think looks right. And there we go. Press escape to deactivate the tool. Now I want to dimension my drawing. So I'm going to go smart dimension. I'm going to select the vertical line. I'm going to estimate that to be a height of 30. I'm going to get the other vertical line. I'm going to go with 12. And then the horizontal line I'm going to say is 88 is probably a bit big. So I'm going to go 70. Okay. Now to fully define this, I could dimension the arc, but I think easiest way for me to do this, just try and find the center point of the arc if I can. There it is. You can see it down here. Okay, so easy way for me to do this, I'm going to click on the center point of that arc. Yours might be further up high, but mine is down here. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hold down the control key, which is the bottom left of your keyboard, which says CTRL. If you hold that down, and then I'm going to select this vertical line here while keeping control held down. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a couple of relations options over here. And I'm going to select coincident. By selecting coincident, you can see I'm after fully defining it. And what's after happening is that the center point of that arc, you can see it down here, is gone in line with this vertical line, and it's after defining. Now what I'm going to do, if I just go back to the picture here, you can see just kind of a little rounded edge there. It's not fully sharp. So what I'm going to do is I want to round this edge here. So a nice little handy way to round that edge in there is going up here to grab your sketch fillet. If you select this, okay, 10 is a bit big. I'm going to go maybe 3 millimeters. Set to this, the parameters to 3, and click on the edge like that, the point here, and then click on the green arrow to accept. That just gives a better rounded edge. Now, I'm happy with my sketch fillet, so I'm going to select the green arrow there. Just going to pull out my design tree actually here a little bit. Click and grab that. It's probably in a little bit there. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to revolve that sketch. So I'm going to go to my Features tab, and I'm going to select Revolve Boss Base. And straight away, it's going to ask me for an axis of revolution. Now, I want it to revolve fully, and the axis is going to be this guy here. So by selecting that guy, you can see it's after creating that kind of dome shape that I wanted. Now, this is me roughly coming up with measurements. If I wanted to change it to height, I can always go back in and edit my sketch. Just a couple of little features here with the revolve though. If you didn't want it to revolve fully, you can always change the angle. Let's say we only wanted to revolve halfway. That would be 180 degrees, and that sketch would revolve around halfway. You could also do a mid-plane version where it'll go, technically, because I set the parameter to 180, it'll go 90 to the left and 90 to the right. I don't want that. I want blind, and I want 360 degrees. Click on the green arrow to accept. And there is our first little section done. Okay. So now the next thing, if I just go into the picture here, I'm going to make the kind of rubber base grip here. Okay. And we're going to do it by doing another revolve. Um, and I'm actually thinking, will we do a revolve? We could also do a boss extrude. So yeah, I might, doesn't matter really. What I'm actually going to do here is, yes, I'll do an actual boss extrude this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the top plane. And you can see the top plane is in line with the bottom of the surface. So I'm going to select top plane and sketch. So click on top plane and click on sketch. And a nice handy tool here that we can use is a tool called offset entities. Now, if we go back to the picture, you can see that the kind of rubber grip bit here, it obviously comes out a little bit bigger. So I'm going to estimate it comes out maybe 1 or 2 mil bigger than obviously the circle that's already here. So I'm going to use a tool here called offset entities. And I'm going to set my parameters to 2 millimeters. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to select the outside edge. See the way, not this one, but I'm going to select this one. And you can see a circle will come in outside it. Now, if I wanted it to come inside, I would simply select reverse. Now, I don't want it inside, I want it outside. So I'm happy with that. All I'm going to do now is select the green arrow to accept. Okay, now what I wanted to do, you can see the sketch. I want that now to extrude upwards and downwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Features, Extrude Boss Base, and you can see here straight away it's automatically going up, and it's going up about 10 mil. Now I think that's a little bit high. I'm going to set it to 8. And then I also want it to go down a little bit. So what I can also do here is select direction 2. And instead of it, once again, it's going blindly down, but it's going down 10. I don't want it to go down 10. I only want it to go down 2 millimeters. And you can see there, it has gone down 2 millimeters. Now, the next thing, and this is really, really important here, I want you to leave merge results ticked for a second. Okay? By ticking it, you'll see what happens here. We'll click on the green arrow. Okay, and that's absolutely fine. Notice how we have a solid bodies folder up here, and this is getting into the multi-body approach. And it says 1. Technically, if I click on that and I click on this, this is all one body because I merged that last step with this guy. But I want this rubber bit to be separate from the metallic bit. So, how do I change that? Okay, if I go into Boss Extrude 1 here, and I click on it, and then you see a little option come up here. We can edit sketch, but I don't want to edit the sketch. I'm happy with the sketch. I want to edit the feature, which is the 3D option. So I'm going to click on edit feature. Now, instead of ticking, remember I said we left merge result on, I want you now to untick merge result and then select the green arrow. And notice how our solid bodies folder has gone from 1 to 2. Now, if I click on the arrow here beside it, you can see here I've got 2 sections. Now notice how it's not the whole thing, we have the initial revolve, which is the metallic bit, and I've also got the rubber bit there. Now, technically, there should be a hole in the rubber bit for the metallic part of the base to go down into. If I right click on the rubber part and I click on the word isolate, you'll see that there's no hole there. You'll have a box somewhere on your screen, then you can exit the isolate. Okay, and obviously the metallic bit, if I right click on it and click isolate, you can see it has to go down into it. So how do we create a hole? So rather than actually just maybe isolating this and cutting down a hole, we can use this object here, this revolve object, to cut into the other object, which is the base bit. So we're going to use this object, this body, to cut into this body. So to do that, we're going to use a very handy tool, and we're going to type it into our commands here. Okay, it's up here on the top right hand side. If this black option for commands isn't visible, what you do is you click on the drop down arrow. Some people might say SolidWorks help, see with the question mark. Click the drop down arrow and make sure commands is selected, and you're going to type in the word indent, INDENT, and then select indent. Now, what we're going to do is, which one of these two objects or two bodies is our target body? The one I want it to be cut into is the one I want to be a target. So the one I want to get cut is actually the kind of the plastic or the rubber bit at the bottom. So I'm going to select this one. So there's our target body. Now the tool body is the one I want to use to cut into it with, which is the metallic bit up here, this part of the base. So I'm going to select this one. Now I've selected two separate bodies. Now what I want to do is I want to select cut. Watch what happens when I select cut. What's going to happen is it's going to use the object, the tool body, to cut into the target body. And when I select the green arrow, I have to have selected cut. Don't change the distance down here or 0. If you do change it to, let's say, 1, watch what happens. Basically, what's going to happen is there'll be a gap of 1 mil extra. But I want it to be, I suppose, a snug fit, so I want it to be 0. Okay, sorry, I accidentally accepted that. Click on it, edit feature. I accepted it with the 1. So you can see here, change this to 0. Click anywhere here, and then click the green arrow. Apologies for that. And now watch what happens. I've done a little indent, but if I right click on the base bit here, or I suppose the rubber grip, if I right click on that and click isolate, there is now a hole inside it. So that is a very, very handy way. Instead of using the, I suppose, cut extrude option or extrude cut option, we used an indent to use two bodies to cut into each other. Okay, so there is two bodies, okay, and now one of them has the hole in it for the metallic part to go into. Okay, now next little bit is we're going to focus on a little switch here. Okay, kind of hard to see there. I'll try and zoom in and see if I can zoom in there. So we're going to focus on this little switch. Now I'm going to start by building the switch portion first, and then we're going to make the kind of casing around it. Okay, and we'll just do it as best we can. So step number 1. Once again, I'm going to, I'm just thinking, well, here, will I model on the front plane or the right plane? I'm actually going to model. So if you look at the front plane, and if I click on normal 2, that is the front plane. Now, because that's the front plane, I want my lampshades to be around up here. So I'm actually going to model on my right plane for the switch. I want to rotate it around because I want to be looking at the side of it. Likewise, if you imagine, we're looking in here at the side of the switch. So I need to model on my right plane. Select right plane and select sketch. And there we go. Now for this, I'm going to put on the hidden detail mode. So you've got different options up here. In this option box here, if you go down, this is color mode. This is colored without edges. And then this one here, we're going to go hidden lines visible and click on that. And you can see here, obviously, where the hidden detail is going in, where the object is cutting into it. Now, I want to make a switch roughly somewhere around here. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm just going to grab a circle. Okay. And I'm going to get a circle. I'm going to do it roughly there. Imagine how a switch would look. Something like that. Probably a little bit big there now, but we'll get the idea. And what I'm going to do is, after drawing the circle, look, I can move it around. I'm going to do something, I think somewhere over around there is appropriate. Just around here. Okay. Just going to go back to the image. Yeah, the lamp bit is a little bit behind it. So kind of the head of it is going to come out of here. So roughly around there. Now that I've done that, I'm going to dimension the size of it first. I'm going to say 20. And now what I need to do is I need to dimension from this point here, the center point of the circle, to the origin. So select the center point of the circle, select the origin, and that distance is saying 38.57. So I'm just going to make it 30. I go 38. Now what I want to do, I've done the horizontal distance. I'm now going to dimension the vertical height. And that's saying 19.62. I'm going to go 20. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to actually kind of get rid of a little bit of a section here. So I think the easy thing for me to do, okay, I want to create, see the little kind of divot there. Okay, obviously where kind of, I suppose this is a rocker switch. So where the kind of the index finger will be pressing on the light switch. So I want to create like a little, if I zoom in here, a little arc going like that. So best way I think to do that is first of all, I'm going to get a center line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a center line from maybe this point up here to this point here. Okay, might move it up a little bit. Okay, I'll go a little bit higher. I think it's a little bit more pronounced than that. So something like that. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to dimension those points. So I'm going to click on this point, I'm going to click on the origin, and I'm going to dimension the vertical height. So it's saying 27.69. So I'm going to say 27.5. And this one here, click on this point, the origin. Once again, I'm going to say for this one, 27. And all I'm going to do now with that is I'm going to get a 3-point arc. Click on this guy. I need to start it here. Click on that point there, this point, and then pull the arc down, trying to create the rough shape of a button. There we go. You can see how close it is. And now I just need to dimension the arc. Smart dimension. Click on the arc. I'm going to make it 15. And then I'm going to dimension from the center point of the arc to the origin. Once again, and I'm going to make it, it says 40.6, so I'm going to go 40.5. Perfect. And just have a little look at that. Probably gone a little bit. So I'll actually go 41. I'm going to change this to 41. You can always edit them. And that should have been coincident there. I'm going to undo that. Apologies. And click on this guy, hold down, get rid of delete. Sorry, apologies there. I'm actually going to redo that arc. So if you click on the arc and click delete, it's always sometimes a little bit of adjustments. I think I accidentally forgot to select the point. So get your 3-point arc again. I want to select this point and select the point here. There we go. And then drag it down, smart dimension. Once again, I'm going to go 15. And yeah, that is fully defined. Last time I forgot, I accidentally did not select this point here for the arc. I just selected the circumference of the circle. Now, looking at that, that looks about close enough. I'm happy with that. Now what I want to do is I want to remove this top section here. So to remove that, I'm going to go Trim Entities. I'm going to click and hold, and you can see if I click and hold, I can kind of draw a little pencil line. But I just want to get rid of this top section. So I click and hold and drag the line through the top arc. There we go. Now what I want to do is I want to give this a little bit more of a rounded edge here. So to do that, I'm going to go Sketch Fillet again. I'm going to set the distance here to maybe 0.5 this time. We'll see what 0.5 looks like. And I'm going to select this point here. I'm happy with that. This point, oh, accidentally selected there. There we go. And that point there, click on the green arrow to accept. There we go. A little bit more of a rounded edge. And now what we're going to do is you can see the sketches in the middle of the object. We're now going to go to Boss Extrude, and we're going to use Features. So Features, Extrude Boss Base. And you can see it's going out in this direction. Now I think the actual width of it is okay. So 8, I might increase it to 10. And the only thing is, instead of it going in one direction, I want it to go 5 to the right and 5 to the left. So instead of blind, we're going to click on this for direction 1. Instead of blind, we're going to go down to mid-plane. And I think that is appropriate enough. I might change it. No, I think 10 is okay. I'll see what 9 looks like. No, 10 is fine. We'll stick with the 10. Absolutely fine. And now, very important, once again, I want this switch to be separate to the body. So I'm going to untick merge result. And when I do that, you'll notice the solid bodies folder will go up to 3. Click on the green arrow to accept. Solid bodies folder is at 3. You can see there. Go back into my color mode. Got a little switch in there. And if I click on the solid bodies folder, I've got the revolve, which is the metal part, the base bit, which is the grip part, the rubber bit, and then we've got the switch. Now what I need to do with the switch is I need to create a casing around it. Okay? And the best way to create a casing around it is we're going to do what's called a split line. So, sorry, actually, before I do the split line, I am actually going to create the inside of the button before I create that. So how is the button going to actually, I suppose, twist around and things like that? So what I'm going to do once again is I'm going to select the right plane and I'm going to select sketch. And straight away I'm going to turn on my hidden detail view. And you can see the circular part here. Now what I want to do is I'm going to grab a circle and I want to find the center point inside here. So sometimes the best way to find center point, if you hover over the circle of the switch, it'll identify where the center is to you. Click and click. I'm going to smart dimension that circle. I'm going to go with a 3 diameter. Okay, and you can see once again that sketch is in the middle of our switch. Now what I want to do is once again I'm going to go features, extrude boss base. I'm going to put on my color mode here now just so you can see it fully. And in mid plane is fine, but instead of 10, we're going to go maybe 14. And you will see it'll come out of the button a little bit to the right and left. I'll even go a little bit bigger. We'll go 16, an extra mil each side. Now, I want merge results to be selected this time, but I only want to merge this with the switch. So a really handy thing to do, leave merge result on, but if you come down here to feature scope at the bottom and you untick auto select, it'll ask you to select a body. Now with 3 bodies, we've got the base, which is the rubber part, the metal part, and the switch. I only want this to be part of the switch, so I select the switch and click on the green arrow to accept. Now, if I right click on the switch and then I go down here to isolate, it's just a part of the switch. Okay, so I'll exit my isolate. Now, the thing with that is I have to cut the shape of the switch into the actual object. Now, the best way to do that, once again, is using our indent tool up here. It's already typed in, so I'm going to click on the search icon and click indent. And what I'm going to do is my target body this time is actually the metal part because I want to cut into that with the switch. I'm going to click on the metal part as my target body. My tool body is actually the switch. So select the switch. And once I select cut, notice what happens. Now you will see here, the parameters have come in already a little bit wider. And the reason being is because the distance here is 1 millimeter. If I change that to 0, it'll cut the exact shape of the button out of it. Now I want a little bit of wiggle room. In reality, you probably have a little wiggle room. So I'm going to go maybe 0.25. And now that will do it all around inside here. But look, it's just for the effect. So I think that's effective. I'm going to click on the green arrow now to accept 0.25. And what you'll notice is there'll be a little gap. See, notice how there's a little gap? Okay, there'll be a little gap at the back just to give a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, now if I click on the metal part at the top, this body here, right click on it and click on isolate, notice how it is after cutting the shape of the holes into it as well. Really, really helpful. Exit isolate. Now we're going to create the little ridge around the side of it, and we're going to use something called a split line. So a split line will allow you to kind of create a sketch on an irregular surface or not, or basically what's not a flat surface like this dome surface here. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a sketch on the top plane or even on this bottom surface, and it's going to impede or project onto this surface up here. So to do that, what we're going to do is I'm actually going to use just thinking, yeah, I might use the top plane again. So I'm going to select top plane and select sketch. Now, technically, it looks like we're drawing here on the top surface, but we're actually drawing down here on this blue plane. So looking down on top of it, once again, all I'm going to do here now this time, we've used offset entities. Now we're going to use convert entities. So I'm going to select this. Now, convert entities, very handy tool. I'm going to select the outside of the button. So I'm going to click on this line here. Then I'm going to click on this line if I can select it. And finally the line at the top. And click on the green arrow. And what you'll notice, okay, there's a little bit of excess there. I want to get rid of that guy. So go trim entities, slice off the excess. Just going to check down here. Yeah, there's a little excess there. So just be careful of those little things. Is there any excess down here? No. Just check all your four corners. No. Now what I want to do is I'm going to do offset entities. So I'm going to click on offset entities. I'm going to set the distance to 2. I'm going to click on this line. Now it's gone inside. I want it to go outside, so I'm going to select reverse. I'm going to select this line, and this line. And you can see it's after offsetting around it. I'm going to click on the green arrow to accept, fully defined. Now what I want to do is, you can see that sketch is on the bottom surface, but I use the top surface to guide me. I'm going to project that sketch up onto this surface here. So to do that, we go to features, and then we're going to go to curves and select split line. Now what we're going to do is, you can see here current sketch is already active, but it's going to ask me, projection is selected, for a surface to sketch on. So I just have to select this surface to sketch on. Click on the surface. Now it's asking me whether I want single direction or not. Click on single direction. And notice how when I selected it, watch this, if I deselect it, notice the sketch down here. When I select it, notice the arrow. Now the arrow is pointing down. That is not the way I want it to go, because I want it to go up to the surface I've selected. So I click on reverse direction here. Now, if it was already pointing up, depending on the computer settings, absolutely fine. You don't have to take reverse direction. Now, when I do that, I'm going to click on the green arrow to accept. And you can see here, what's after happening is, it's after creating this little section there. So I drew on the bottom surface to project it up onto the top surface here of the metal part. Now what we're going to do, having done that, is we're going to create a surface and we're going to thicken it out. So I need to create a surface out of that. So if you go into your surfaces tab, sketch here, features. Now surfaces might be new to some of us, but what we want to do in surfaces, if this actually, sorry, I should say, if this surface tab is not here, all you do is you right click on any one of these tabs. If you right click on any one, hover over tabs, and then you can select surfaces. Okay, and it will become active. Now in surfaces, what I would like you to select is offset surface. Now offset surface is going to create a surface out of this section here. All we're going to do is we're going to set the distance to 0 millimeters, and we're going to click on that section there, and then click on the green arrow. Now what we're going to do is, now that we've created a surface, we can now thicken that surface. So if I select thicken, I'm going to thicken it by 1 millimeter. So set the parameter here. Now you've got 3 options. You can thicken outwards, which is what we want. You can thicken outwards and inwards, or you can thicken just inwards, which would be going in, which makes no sense for what we're modeling today. So this is the one that we want to select. And all I'm going to do is, after doing that, my thicken parameters, I'm going to select this surface because we created a 0 millimeter surface. And you can see here, it goes up about 1 millimeter. Now 1 actually, based on my model, is probably a little bit big. I'm going to go 0.5. And then all I'm going to do is, I'm going to untick auto select, and I want that to be part of this guy. Click on the green there, that surface there, and click the green arrow to accept. There we go. And now we have created a little switch. Now what we're going to do is, we're going to add very quickly, and just finish off this first video, we're going to add some detail to the switch. Okay, a little power button and a little turn off button. So if I just go back in here, there'll be a little power button on one side and a turn off button on the other. So all we're going to do now, once again, is we're going to select the top plane and sketch. And this time I don't need to turn on the hidden detail view, but all I'm going to do is, I'm going to get a center line, and I'm going to draw a center line. This is on the switch from the center of this line to this line. Now on that center line, I am going to select a center point rectangle, and I'm going to draw that. If I click in here, I'm going to draw a center point rectangle in there like that. And then I'm going to get a circle. I'm going to go up here, I'm going to do a circle like that, and from the same center point, another circle inside it. So these are going to be like our off-on switches. So I'm going to smart dimension, first of all, select smart dimension. I'm going to select the center point of the rectangle. I'm going to select this line here, and I'm going to set that at 2.5. Now I'm going to select the side of the rectangle. I'm going to say it is 3. I might go 2.5. We'll just see what 2.5 looks like. And I'm going to set the gap here, that distance there, to be 1. Okay, that's gone fully defined, fully black. Now what I'm going to do is the same thing here. I'm going to select the center point of the circle to this line. And I'm going to say, I'll go 3 this time for this one. Now I'm going to select the circle. And once again, I'll go 3. And I'm going to select this circle. And I'm going to say 4. Okay, is that big enough? Might even go 5. We'll see what 5 looks like. A little bit too big. I'm going to go 4.5. So you can see here, there's just a little bit of playing around. Now I think that's appropriate. So I'm going to exit my sketch this time. Clicking on the blue icon. The sketch is still there. Okay, you can see it. And if I wanted to hide it, see where it says sketch 6, I could click on it and click hide. And that would hide the sketch, but I need to use that sketch. So I'm going to select it and click on the eyeball, which is show. Now that sketch is on the bottom surface, but once again, we're going to do another split line and project it upwards. And this time we'll use a thicken cut. So same thing. Now, this time we're going to select curves, split line. This time the sketch isn't selected for us automatically because we exited the sketch. So I have to select the sketch so I can find it here. If I click on it in here, that'll work. Or you can click on the arrow here and go down and find it here, and it's sketch 6. Now I'm going to project it onto the surface. So click on this surface to draw on, and then I'm going to click on single direction. Notice how the arrow is pointing down again. Click reverse direction, pointing up. Click the green arrow to accept. And there it is. There's our little projections. Now what we're going to do, now that sketch is still visible. So I'm going to go back into my split line and click on sketch 6 and click hide. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create surfaces out of that. So, and this time we're going to cut them inwards. So once again, I'm going to go off and notice how thicken and thicken cut are not active because we have to create a surface. So if I click on offset surface, 0 is the parameter, select this guy, and click on the green arrow. Now we're going to go thicken cut. This time, I'm just wondering, will we go down? Yeah, we'll go down, but we'll go down only 0.25. And very important, once again, this is thicken cut out, thicken cut both ways, and this is thicken cut down. So I select this one this time, but it's thicken cut or cut thicken. And all I do is I select here, that's going to cut it down, click inside, obviously the area that we've created, the surface, and click the green arrow to accept, and do the exact same again, thicken cut, select this guy, and click the green arrow. And there is our little buttons detail. Okay, we've created a nice little switch there, and here's all the steps that we're after doing in the first part of the video. So now that we've done that, here's our 3 solid bodies. There's 1, there's 2, and then we've got our switch number 3. Okay, that there will cover you now for the first part of the video. So what we're going to do now is we're going to save this just as a desk lamp. So what you're going to do is you're going to go up here to the top of your screen. You're going to click on File. You're going to click on Save As, and you're going to navigate to that folder. So mine is on my desktop, 5th year SolidWorks, and remember we created one at the very start of this video called a lamp. We're going to double click on that. Now we're in the lamp folder, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to say call it desk lamp. OCD kicking in, capital L, project, and click save. And there we have it. That there is the first part of this video. Apologies, battery is just running low here. That there is the first part of this video. Okay, and we've already created technically 3 parts, or 3 bodies, I should say, not parts. So there's the base part, which is the grip. Then we've got the metallic part, and we've got the switch. Now, quite a little bit of detail and complex modeling went into those rather than just simple boss extrudes. Okay, we did revolves, boss extrudes, split lines, and kind of cuts and surfaces as well. Okay, so that's that first video done there, guys. I hope you found that helpful. When you get this done, by all means, move on to the second video. Okay.